So as an online coach, you started coaching to escape that 9 to 5 and get financial freedom. But what you ended up getting was a glorified job position. Let me explain. So this is you're the coach. And at this point, you understand that you need to do a lot of work, writing emails, the service delivery, doing content, and you end up getting spread really, really thin because you're trying to do everything at once. And you end up looking like these medieval torture chambers, getting every single body part spread out just like this. And it doesn't get any better because your competition is a full-fledged team with back-end operations, sales managers, copywriters, web designers, sales teams, and you just can't compete. Now, that is a problem in itself that you don't have a team. But right now, as a coach, you just need more leverage. And to get more leverage, we kind of need to understand what leverage is to begin with. So if we just look at this leverage pyramid, at the very beginning of times, we had labor, which was the most basic form of leverage, where you're plowing the field. The next form of leverage that we gained over time was capital. So if you had more money, you could pay people to plow your field for you. Then we got machines, right? Machines could plow the field for us. And then now the highest forms of leverage in today's society is media and then code. Now, as a coach, ideally, by this point, you've already gained the leverage of media, but now you need to maximize the leverage of code. So once you end up figuring out code and putting that into your business, you will actually make a lot more money. Nowadays, AI is the hype, and that's what we're going to be focusing on in this video. And we're going to get you to write emails as a coach. Just before I show you more information, I do want you to know that you do not need to be a pro copywriter to understand anything in this video, because everything that I'm showing you is literally easily done by anyone nowadays. It's just an information thing, and we're going to break that down in this video. Just to show you that I kind of know what I'm talking about here, right? We actually have really, really good open rates for our coaching businesses, right? We have between 70% and 40% open rates consistently across campaigns. And, this allows us to do over 6-figure months consistently. If you want similar results, you just need to plug and play these systems I'm going to show you in this video. At the very top, before we even understand how to write emails with AI, we do need to understand how to actually get the emails in the first place, because this is where a lot of coaches mess up to begin with. So at the very top of wherever you're selling your program, you need to be able to actively collect information from your consumers or prospects. And the easiest way to do this is by having an opt-in page just like this. And I mean, if you just look here, right, we have a good headline and we're collecting very unique pieces of information so that they can get access to whatever resources we're providing within our program. And the very first thing is their name, then their email, then their phone number, and then they get access to whatever free training we give them afterwards. So now that we actually have their email and their SMS or phone number, we can actually start sending out sequences. So what do those sequences actually look like? We're going to be doing a 7-day email sequence and then also daily emails. Now, the 7-day email sequence is from when they first opt in. So right away, automatically, when they join your program or they opt into your program at the very top, like I just showed you, they'll get this 7-day sequence. So let's just break that down really quickly. The very first thing that you want them to do is you get them to reply first. And the reason why we do this is because we want to just protect the sending domain or our email inbox so that we don't end up landing in spam. If we get them to reply first, instead of constantly sending links, constantly sending other things in the very first email, we'll actually protect ourselves down the line and we'll actually be able to send a ton of emails in the future. The very next thing is the coach story and some value. And the reason why we do this is because we want to be really relatable to the actual audience and actually build rapport. A lot of people kind of just start selling right off the bat, and you kind of want to take a step back and help the consumer or prospect actually understand what you're actually doing, especially nowadays because there's so many gurus trying to sell these scam courses, and a lot of people have been scammed already. So you do want to provide some relatability and some value right off the bat, and presenting your own story actually helps a lot with this. Now, the very next thing is objection handling. So if you don't know what an objection handle is, or an objection to begin with, within the sales process, someone's going to not buy for a specific reason. And typically it comes down to 3 things. So number 1 is the actual vehicle. So what are you selling them and how is that going to fix their pain? The second thing is most likely going to be money. Can they actually afford to do what you're selling them? And the third thing is going to be time most of the time. Those 3 things are the most common objections. And that's kind of what you want to focus on within your email sequence. And if you don't know for sure, I would do a lot of market research within your industry and talk to the people that are actually buying your programs, because those people will tell you exactly why they won't buy. And you could kind of break those things down in your email sequence. The very next thing is very important, and it's just a student case study. This builds a lot of trust, and prospects love to see other people's stories besides you as a coach, because this proves that your program actually works. But also, at a certain point as a coach, you kind of lose touch with what your prospects are actually going through from the beginning. And that kind of helps you bridge that gap. Now, beyond this, you want to have another objection handle email, and then also get them to reply, and then another objection handling email and get them to reply again, right? The reason why we're getting to reply is because we want to start a conversation within email. And if we could do that, we could potentially get them booked in for a call and potentially sell them whatever program we're actually selling them. Now, the very last email is going to be another student success story. Always end the sequence off with a student success story. This has always worked best for us, and it will work really well for you. The reason why we do this is because it leaves the entire sequence off on a good note. You can't really go bad with a success story from someone that's already gone through your program. Now, I didn't also mention this, but within your first student success story, within the email sequence, have a call to action to whatever you're selling. So whether that's booking in a call or actually buying the program that you're selling. So that's the entire 7-day email sequence. Now, what you also wanted to have, like I said earlier, is daily emails. Now, depending on how often you're actually sending emails, you do need to take one thing into account. You do not want to be spamming your audience every single day if you've never sent an email. So if you've never really sent any emails to your email list and you've built up a couple thousand people on your list, it's important to start off at, I'd say, about 3 maximum per week and then ramp up from there. And one thing you do really need to understand is make sure that your emails are extremely high value. If you don't do this, you're going to notice that people are going to stop opening your emails because they just don't see the value. And they're also going to start unsubscribing from your list. So make sure the emails that you're actually sending out is something that you would find valuable to read from your consumer's perspective. Don't just be sending out random things. So now that we understand the structure of our email flows, we do need to actually get to writing the emails. And how do we actually do that? Well, that's a really good question. So as a coach, you kind of have 2 different options. Number one is ChatGPT, and this is really good for longer form copy, I find. So if you're trying to write long form video scripts, ChatGPT is kind of the way to go. I've noticed for myself at least. And if you're trying to write emails, you should definitely go with Claude. It's perfect for shorter form copy, and you could build up bots that are really easy to use. Now, if you are using Claude, I heavily recommend that you buy the pro version. This is going to allow you to maximize whatever you're trying to do on the platform. If you don't do this, you're gonna have subpar emails, and it's not even that expensive. It's like $30 a month. Now, a lot of people actually believe that it's the prompting of the AI that's important, but in reality, it's not really that. It's actually the context that you give it to write the emails. So you want to build out your Claude bot, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But as you can see, I provide my bots with a bunch of context so that it understands how to actually write the emails in the most perfect way possible. And this is how we're going to get around actually understanding how to write copy, because AI is going to do everything for us. And it's not as complicated as you think. I'll break that down. So one of the most important pieces of context is the coach's backstory. And basically what you want to do is go to loom.com and record a quick video of you telling the camera your exact story from A to Z and how you got to where you're at today. This is going to allow the AI to understand and kind of use what you're speaking about in the emails so that it actually appears to be very valuable to your audience when they're reading it. Not only do you want to give it backstory, but you also want to give it the actual way that you speak as a coach, because without that, the AI is going to sound very robotic and inhuman. So take transcripts from your YouTube videos. And the easiest way to do this is just by installing YouTube transcript extensions. Basically, you could just copy and paste the entire thing and put it into Claude. Now, the third thing that I actually recommend that you put into your context is the case studies. If you're already running your program, you've definitely already had some success within it. So you basically just want to write out the entire case study so that it gives the AI context to what's actually possible and achievable for people that are in the program. Try and make this as detailed as possible, because the more detail and the more context the AI has, the better results you'll actually see. And the fourth and probably most important thing that you want to actually give to the AI is other email template examples. Now, if you're a coach and you don't know how to write emails whatsoever, you could honestly just go to your competition or other people within the space as coaches and basically steal their emails or the templates that they've already written and just basically plug it into your own AI as context for templates. And this is what I mean by you don't need to know how to actually write copy as a coach. You just need to provide it with context and leverage code. And the very last thing is actually just giving it a prompt to write your email. And it's probably going to look something like this. Okay, so you guys probably thought it was going to be some really long prompt. No, after you feed it all this context, you could literally give it a prompt just like this. Write an email on how to avoid blowing your account from in a story format. It's not even proper English, but you could give it after you've fed all this context, and you could actually produce emails that are really well written. And just to show you that this isn't bullshit, I'll just show you what I've been able to do. So if you look here, I've actually blurred out my client's name just out of privacy. But anyways, we're going to go ahead. We've provided it with all this context that I just broke down. And all you really need to do is give it the prompt. Literally, I haven't changed anything. Just gave it context and gave a really, really bad prompt. And this is just going to show you what can actually be done with leveraging AI and context. So it's as simple as that. If you haven't been making money from your emails, SMS, you just leverage AI in that way, because at this point you've already leveraged media. If you leverage code as well, oh man, you'll make so much more money.